Hey guys, Joy St. Anthony aka JJ. Last summer I took Gaku's Deep Paint with Blender and Grease Pencil. It was a 5-week course and this is what we made in the first week. It's a treehouse / garden scene and I wanted to use the add-on that we get with this course to make a scene in South Beach. Before I started, I went into Procreate and did these 4 15-minute studies to see which angle I wanted my scene to be. This is a time lapse. I sped this up about 4 times, but really my goal this year is to get better at combining 2D and 3D. I found these images on the left on Google. I do not own the images. On South Beach, there's these 2 hotels right next to each other, the Colony Hotel and the Boulevard Hotel. I selected these 2 because I really liked the lighting and how they kind of like bounced off each other. When I'm using a lot of meshes, I like to go to the viewport shading, which, let me go to the top, is this drop down, and I like to change the color to random. It just helps me when I have a lot of different materials and kind of like stay organized. Again, I'm just trying my best to copy the image that I see on the left with the meshes, and under the Colony where it says hotel, it's curved and it took me a second to figure out how to do that. Shout out to YouTube. I added 10 loop cuts and then I went to the modifiers and added a simple deform modifier and changed it to bend and adjusted the angle. If I didn't like the angle in the tutorial video, what they did is they went to object, apply all transforms, and there you go. That's what I want for the curve. Now I'm pressing shortcut in and selecting deep, and again, like I said previously, that's the add-on that we got when we took the deep class, and I'm just solidifying the planes. At this moment I'm done adding meshes, so I added the grease pencil and I changed the drawing plane to surface and front if you look at the top center, and I'm gonna go in and draw all the windows and the doors. After I finish drawing the windows and doors and the designs, I go in and I write out the Colony Hotel. I later find out I should have done that on a separate grease pencil. You see on the left the Boulevard Hotel, the kind of glow. That's what I'm trying to duplicate. I'm gonna join these cubes that I made into one. Okay, they're all selected. Well, almost all selected. And then shortcut, I have a Mac, it's Command J, but you also can just go to Object Join. Okay, good, that's one. I'm gonna go in later and add a separate emission shader for that. And I just changed it to rendered view because I wanted to play with the lighting. For right now, I'm using a spotlight with the color kind of orangey and blue. And now that that's done, I'm selecting my title and I'm pressing shortcut E. Again, I'm using the deep add-on to change the grease pencil to line mesh, excuse me. And now that that is done, it's basically 3D. I'm pressing DPM, which changes it to black. I'm repeating that with the hotel on the other side, Boulevard Hotel. Okay, and now I am going to select it and then use the eyedropper to try to find a color that's close, and it's like a dark blue, and again I'm repeating that on the other side. And this process of selecting a 3D mesh, pressing DPM and then using the eyedropper to find a color better and playing around with that. I'm repeating that process over and over again. So I'm gonna fast forward. Right here, it's a little bit too grainy for my liking, so I go up and I click all transforms, and I like that a little bit better. And what I really like about the Deep add-on is it gives it this, you know, like textury, grainy color, which I really like. Once I like where the color is at, I go into Vertex Paint and I add shadows. For this mesh, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm selecting it, and then in the materials tab, I click new, and I am going to change the surface to emission. And right now you don't really see anything, but I am going to change it from white to kind of like the reference image, like a bright orangish reddish. I'm going to come back to that, but a trick I learned in the class is I'm going to select my building and go to sculpt. And let me stretch that out. And then where is it? Right there, I'm gonna select lasso trim. And then at the top, I'm gonna change that to surface and use cursor for depth. I'm gonna select that. And now with the lasso tool, I'm going to cut out the windows. I am gonna repeat this process for both hotels. It took me a second to figure out how I wanted the windows. At first I played with the grease pencil fill, but then I was like, no, I just added planes and then I lowered the opacity and then I added a point light right behind it to kind of make it look like somebody was in the hotel room. And now I'm repeating this process at the Boulevard Hotel. For the Colony Hotel, I use point lights. I just thought that the area light looked better for the Boulevard Hotel. Right here, I realized I should have made the Colony Hotel and the Boulevard Hotel on a separate grease pencil blank because I want them to glow and have the emission shader. But I don't want that for like the windows and the doors, so I'm gonna go in the edit mode and delete it. I did fast forward a bit, but my Boulevard Hotel, the name are on separate grease pencils, so I'm gonna press E, grease pencil to line mesh, and then I'm gonna see what it looks like if I turn on the bloom, and that can be found in the renders property tab. I like it, but should I make the Boulevard Hotel a little bit redder? So I'm gonna turn that off because it kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, but I'm just playing with the settings to see how it will look. I made it a little bit redder instead of yellower to match my reference image. Right now, I think my hotels are pretty much done. For the Colony Hotel, I added another grease pencil for the outline. It can't be South Beach without some palm trees. So I am just gonna change it to 3D cursor, and then I'm going to do shortcut Shift select with my mouse to move the 3D cursor, but you can't see it, can you? So I'm gonna click the drop down of viewport displays and turn on 3D cursor. That is where my first palm tree is going to be drawn. And as you see, I changed the drawing plane to 3D cursor, and I'm gonna use the I'll just use I'll just use the rough pen. For right now, I'll keep it black. First, I'm just gonna draw the base of the palm tree. I'm gonna turn the radius up to make it kind of thick. The base is done for right now, and I'm gonna change it from 3D cursor to stroke because I'm gonna draw my palm tree leaves, and change the target to first point. After I draw one leaf, I like to move the scene around to make my palm tree more 3D. My palm tree is done drawing, but I need to go into sculpt mode. I want to go and make the base of it thicker. So I'm just going to go to thickness and make sure the plus is enabled and just kind of make it thicker at the bottom. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, so I'm going back into object mode, and kind of like what I did for my buildings, I'm selecting E and then grease pencil to line mesh because I'm going to go in and color it shortly. I'm pressing DPM, and then right now I'm clicking Shift D, and I'm going to press Shift D one more time. And now I click DPM vertex. I'm trying to find like a brownish. I'm gonna go to vertex paint, and I just continue coloring it. And I repeated that process for the other two palm trees because I wanted them to look not 100% alike. When it comes to coloring, a little different. And for the background, if you look at the first reference image at the top, I really like the gradient of the night. So I moved my 3D cursor to the back, and I'm just adding a blank grease pencil, and I'm just gonna go in and color it kind of with that gradient effect. And I changed it to 3D cursor, the drawing plane. And I'm going to use my favorite, the wet brush. I really do love playing with different colors in Blender with the grease pencil. I just really wish they would add like a smudge tool so I can go in and combine the colors better. My background is done. I fast forwarded that part. I really want the Colony Hotel to have more lighting on it, so I'm gonna add a mesh, and then I just stretched it out. I am going to, once it's placed where, I'm going to click material and change the surface from principled to emission, and I kind of want it to be like a light bluish, kind of like the reference image. It's like this light, kind of like sky blue. And I'm just clicking Shift D to duplicate it and move it throughout the Colony Hotel. And now I'm gonna add a point light for right now, because in the reference image the light bounces off the palm tree, and right now it doesn't really do that. So I'm gonna see if I can add a little bit more light between my palm trees. After playing around with it, I thought the area light looked the best, and I'm just gonna move it up just a little bit. Yes. And I want that kind of on all my palm trees, so I'm just clicking Shift D and placing it slightly above the palm tree. And for the last light, I'm gonna change it to a little bit more red. Now I want to add a line art modifier, but to do that, I don't want like the Colony Hotel, I don't want the title to be included or the lights, because anything in my collection will have a line art modifier, and I don't want that. So right now I'm just moving everything I want into another collection that I made. Now that that's done, make sure you're in camera view, add grease pencil, collection, line art. I am going to select the line art under collection and then the modifiers tab, and line art will be there, and you can go in and play with the settings right there. If I unselect it, if I wanted to render it right now, you wouldn't see the line art, but I always can go in and reselect it. Right now I'm just playing with the settings, playing with the bloom, and I kind of liked it with the sky blue effect right here instead of the white. I'm also going to go down to color management, and again I'm in the under view transform. You have these different object options. Normally the default is standard. Kind of like filmic. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it on that one. Do you think it looks better without the line art? Right now there's no line art enabled. Or with the line art selected? Well, thank you guys so much for watching me create this scene of South Beach, Miami. This is Joyce Ann Anthony, aka JJ. Until next time.